Namaste. Hello. Good evening. I just got a comment and they said, "Can you please help me understand how to know if a person is enlightened? I'm really confused about that. And how long does it usually take for a serious seeker? I followed Swamiji for a year and still don't know." Okay. Well, this is not an easy one to answer because there is no litmus test. Okay. When one enters enlightenment, there's not a brilliant thing that starts going above their head that starts flashing enlightened, enlightened, enlightened. Okay. There is no specific way you're going to look, you're going to act, you're going to speak. Okay. People have these really mistaken notions. And then what is enlightenment? Okay. Usually we say that enlightenment is when one is in Turiya Theta state. Okay. That absolutely stilled mind. Okay. In Advaita, not two. The cognition, the consciousness has totally gone through a total revamping. Okay, they've been blown out. But again, you cannot tell based on their appearance or what they're doing. Some will become very active in social things. Some will sit there in meditation all day. Some will just wander around. So there is no one specific thing that takes place. Okay. But one thing I can tell you that does take place and will take place is that they will have the same knowledge, be in the same reality, the same cognition as other realized beings. Okay, there's only one reality in realization. When the mind stills and all deconstructs and you're seeing from that place of stillness. If you're still in mind, then there are as many cognitions and ideas and judgments, etc., as there are people on the planet. Numerous. Okay? But in realization, the wisdom is one. So check with ones, read ones like Ramana. You can't go wrong with Ramana Maharishi. Okay? Sri Ramana, there's many things out that people around him had written, what he was saying. He was never a guru as such. He sat there and allowed people to come and ask questions, and he would give them darshan. Okay. I don't know. I think only one person that was around him became enlightened. There was another person that went crazy. He told them, "Do not sit in front of me," because the energy was too much, and this person didn't listen, and he went off. Okay. But yeah, the best way to look, and also you have to be aware that you'll have a lot of satsang teachers that say, "There's nowhere to go, there's nothing to get, you're already that." Okay, nonsense. Okay, they learn Advaita speak. Okay, and Advaita speak is not it. The words are not it. Okay, so don't be taken in by that. A lot of Advaita teachers will also say, or the so-called Advaita teachers giving satsang, they'll say, "Oh yes, well the mind is still going, but you just don't pay attention to it." Then that's not enlightenment. Okay, maybe they're in witness state where the mind begins to still. The mind is still there, but one is not as caught up in the thoughts. One is seeing from this buffer zone where it may feel like there is no one there, but there still is witness. There still is that first projection of I am that's very much in place. Okay, so that's not enlightenment. Okay, another one if they are in a very dualistic path, a path of divida. I think sometimes there's a lot of mistaken notions that when the heart starts to expand, and that can happen on pretty early on in a path, again, you get that really feeling of just bliss, overwhelming bliss, and everything again you see is God is in here and God is there, and it's very palpable. People will think that's realization. Some will say you're in oneness and that's realization, that's enlightenment. It's not. Okay, that's one step on the journey. There is much further to go from that point. So be aware that many of the teachers that are in divisionary things will tell you at that point it's enlightenment. Or they will mistakenly say when one sees this light, when Kundalini becomes active and one sees internal lights, or sometimes you can be aware of auras, all of these things begin to take place, they will call that being enlightened. Just because you see an internal light does not mean you are enlightened, okay? Again, enlightenment is only when one goes through that death before death and the mind stills in that state of Turiya Theta. Okay. And from that point, one is in that stillness, not two, not two. Okay. That's enlightenment. When all of the coverings have been laid bare, when Maya has been laid bare, okay, there's no more illusion. Like the Buddha says, I have awakened. It's like coming out of a dream, and one knows that the life they had lived before was like a dream state. It only had the reality that the mind was continuing to feed it and hold on to and project into. Okay, so that's enlightenment. Now, you want to know how long does it take for a very sincere student. I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings. It can take lifetimes. Okay, be prepared for that. It can take lifetimes. In the case here, there have been lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. Okay, I'm very aware of being a monk, being Tibetan monk, having lifetimes, living in India, living in Tibet, many lifetimes as a nun, many lifetimes of seeking and surrendering and searching. The good news is you pick up where you left off. Okay, so it's not like you're starting all over again. Okay, your consciousness will open to where you left off and you will continue your journey. But it can take lifetimes. Okay. Once Kundalini opens, like here, the Kundalini opened when I was approximately in my early 20s. It didn't complete until I was 49. Okay. That's a lot of years, and it's going 24/7. Very extreme experiences are taking place. You're going through hell realms. You're going through all the fears are coming up that you have to look at. All the illusions that you've had in place. Everything you've known or you thought you've known are going to get challenged. Okay? Whether this world is solid or not is going to get challenged. Whether you are a form or not is going to get challenged. Okay. You may feel, like I said, you're going to spontaneously combust. The heat can get so much. 1 second you're in the body, next second you're out of the body. You're having lucid dreaming. All of a sudden, you can start seeing other various lands and realms and astral realms. Okay. All of a sudden, one moment you'll wake up and you know how to do healing. You can feel what's going on in somebody else's form. Okay? All of your senses become very acute. It will become almost painful sometimes to go out. In the midst of that journey, when things have become very acute, in San Francisco, some of the buildings are built on roller systems because of earthquake. Well, when I go in the building, I feel like it's swaying like this, and nothing's perceptible to anyone else. I mean, everything is so heightened beyond belief. If you look at the path of Christ, you'll see many of the things that one has to go through. You're walking that path. There will be the challenges, there will be these, temptations. All of these things one passes through. Okay. So you cannot become enamored of cities that arise. If you become enamored of a city and you go, great, I can do healing now. I can feel this. I can project. I can do all of these things. If you get caught there, they can be very big stumbling blocks and traps. So again, it's a very long, difficult journey. Okay. Everyone thinks they're going to come in and they are going to be the one person that's going to get it in a year. But I'm sincere. But I really want it because I want to help humanity. It's not for me, it's for humanity. And what they think they're going to get is a bigger, more high-blown ego. I'm going to become more wise. I'm going to have all this knowledge. I. Okay. They come in with this Messiah complex. Okay. I want to be this very special, humble person. It's going to save the world. Okay. Okay. That's not what happens. Okay. Like I said, it can take lifetimes. And even once Kundalini awakens, it's years and years and years, day and night, 24/7. There's no let up with this. You'll have periods where you go and you think you're sleeping, but you're awake during your sleep. You're watching yourself sleep. You're having lucid dreams. You're able to move the dream to do whatever it wants to do. Okay. So again, it's a very long, long journey. Difficult. There are a lot of stumbling blocks that can come along the way. I don't sugarcoat this for anyone. Yes, there are many blissful moments, but there are also hell realms that one traverses. Okay. You're going to have to confront evil at its very core many times. Okay. Are you ready for that? Again, not an easy journey. You have to learn that you cannot feed it energy. Okay. If you fear, you're feeding. If you're trying to say, but I love it, I'm going to love it into the thing, you're feeding it. One has to learn to sit through the most egregious, terrifying things you can imagine without feeding it, so that it does not gain energy and it has to dissipate. Okay. A lot of, like I said, very, very hard lessons that one has to go through along the way. Okay. And again, Kundalini is, like I told somebody today, it's like the rotor-rooter of consciousness. It brings up all these ideas you have had so they can all be challenged and seen for what they are. Okay. So again, in realization, all of that blows out in an instant and it never comes up again. It's like it never existed. all those dramas, all those traumas, all of those big, overblown experiences, they all settle into that still point. Okay. So again, enlightenment is a total shift of consciousness. One dies to the illusion of that persona and that storyline that one had had for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. One dies to the illusion of being a physical body form. Okay. One knows beyond a shadow of a doubt they are what animates that form, which is eternal. The form is going to come and go, but it is not who and what one is. Okay. And I'm not talking about an intellectual aha moment of understanding. I'm talking an absolutely known, hardcore reality beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like, you're breathing. It's that point blank in your face known. Okay. So again, there's a lot of mistaken notions about what enlightenment is. Some people want to say enlightenment is gaining all these powers. Okay, no. Enlightenment is going beyond those powers. Not allowing those to sway you, to hold you. Kali is a representative of Kundalini. If you read the Chandipat, you'll understand what one traverses in Kundalini. Okay. And Shakti can either uncover or can delude totally and fully, depending on where one's consciousness is, depending on where one's focus is. If one is in it for egotistical means, she is going to continue to delude you with bigger and better prizes for a time. Okay. So the path to enlightenment is always surrender, surrender, surrender. Like the monastery nun, not my will, but thine be done, O Lord. Okay. Surrender, surrender, surrender. Okay. So I hope that's helped to answer and it hasn't made you even more confused as to what enlightenment is. Okay. Again, in a nutshell, it's a total shift of consciousness from being in this divisionary mind, okay, of words and thoughts and creation. Okay. You're no longer looking to be a little co-creator of God. Okay. If you are a co-creator, you will never be enlightened. Okay. Because that's again a persona, doership. Okay. Enlightenment is beyond that. Okay. Enlightenment is that still point. So I am going to go ahead and close this out now. Hopefully it's helped you to understand a little more as to what it is and what it's not. But again, it's not easy to define because it's like the Bible says, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God and the Word was God. Okay. So when we say God, we mean that first projection, which was the creationary element, which created the world and also creates through one's consciousness this realm of Maya and illusion. Okay. Namaste. Have a great evening.